Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Dr. Najiha and welcome to the meeting of the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee. And today we will be discussing your animal ethic application. From this list name, hello Azla. So you will be evaluated by Dr. Kamarina from Faculty of Veterinary Medicine UMK, and then Miss Atira from Faculty of Agro-Based Industry UMK, as well as Dr. Leong from Perhilitan, and last but not least myself. So you may start now and please focus only on the important parts.
Okay, thank you. I'll share my screen now. I am Azwa. My title for my thesis is Immunochromatography Detection of Canon distemper virus as an evaluation of cross-species transmission of wildlife in Sabah, Sabah. Uh, So basically, for a summary of this project, I would be going to Bona Sanda Conservation Center as well as Orangutan Rehabilitation Center in Sabah, and then I would be collecting blood from 6 different species, and then I would be using an antibody rapid test kit to check for antibodies of CDV. And the ethics is implied because it's vertebrates, and we would be collecting blood. So this is a summary of the animals, which is 20 rats, 20 long-tailed macaques, 5 sunbears, 5 Bonan orangutans, 5 Asian elephants, and 10 stray dogs. And then we would be doing anesthesia. So the justification of this is that few months ago, the vet in Bonesanda Conservation Center noticed that some of the sunbears exhibited neurological signs resembling CDV infection. However, the peculiar thing was that these sunbears came from different age groups, different sexes, different social groups, as well as different forest enclosures. So they tested 10 animals, whereby 7 sunbears were tested positive, 1 rat was tested positive, and 1 orangutan was tested negative, and also 1 elephant was tested negative. This was from antibody rapid test kit, and then upon repeating this from PCR, some of the bears which were positive turned out to be negative from the PCR. So this is a summary of the restraining method, whereby the rat would be restrained using hand glove physically, and then blood would be taken from the tail vein. The long-term macaques would be restrained with primate arm restraint, and also sedated with xylazine 1 to 2 milligram per kg, and blood would be taken from femoral vein. And then the sunbears would be anesthetized using xylazine 1 milligram per kg and xylitol 3 milligram per kg, and blood would be taken from cephalic or femoral vein. And then the Bornean orangutans would be they're pretty tame since they're captive, and then they would only be physically restrained using primate arm restraint, but would be also taken from cephalic or femoral vein. And then the Asian elephants would be physically restrained using rope by the handler, and then blood would be taken from auricular vein. And the stray dogs would be physically restrained using muzzle and towel if needed, and then cephalic vein would be used. I would have 2 supervisors, one external supervisors, one in Borneo Sunbear Conservation Center and one in Orangutan Rehabilitation Center. So this is a summary of what we would be doing to the animals after the procedure. The rats would be euthanized using phenobarbital 50 milligram per kg intraperitoneal, and the justification for this is because they're actually pests from the wild forest enclosure. The long-term macaques would be released back to the capture site because they're part of the free-ranging wildlife. The sunbears, orangutans, and elephants would be monitored by the keepers since they're captive animals in the enclosure. And then the stray dogs would also be released back to the capture since they're part of the free-ranging animals. And they are all except rats expected to survive after the procedure. And then the rest would be disposed by burying. I already got the signature, so that's all. I welcome any questions.
All right. Thank you, Azla. So now a question from the panel.
Hi, according to your table of proposed animal usage, you also listed stray dogs. So may I know why you listed it since your ethics is on wildlife?
So even though my title include says specifically for wildlife, stray dogs is included because CDV is actually the main reservoir for them is dogs. So checking from dogs would enable us to properly map the epidemiological pattern of how the wildlife is possibly getting this.
Right. Azla, the CDV test kit that you use is specially used for canine. So has it been studied or tested on wildlife before?
Yes, even though it's actually for dogs, it's been used extensively even years before in places like Africa and even in the former outbreak in tigers in Malaysia.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, hi Azla. In your opinion, do you think that this study has any benefit to human?
Yes, definitely. Because CDV is actually from the same origin as human measles virus. And it's so similar that studies have shown that if you put measles virus antibodies in primates, then they actually get cross immunity for CDV. And also in experimental setting, if we use the primate version of CDV and do a mild change in the S gene, then it's shown that it really easily infects humans. So it could be said that CDV infecting humans is a potential future pandemic. So it's important to monitor it in wildlife.
So, any more questions from the panels? Right. So, last question from me, Azla. How many ml of blood are you taking from each animal, and how do you know that you do not exceed the maximum allowable level?
So the rapid test kit needs only one drop, and this means that about zero point 0.5 ml of serum should also be enough. So we would make sure that we don't exceed more than 1% of each animal's body weight.
All right. I think that's it. So, we have come to the end of our meeting. Thank you, Azla, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, doctors and everybody.